Before starting with TIA, I had been thinking about buying another investment property. I'd actually sort of done some shopping around, looked at some other buyers agents, but I really wasn't sure whether or not I'd be able to sort of go through and make a second purchase. I knew I wanted to buy another property, but I really wasn't sure whether that was going to be possible. And that's what led me to TIA. So I knew the basics because I'd already purchased a property. But I mean, to be honest, that was probably about like 5 or 6 years ago. So I had a base level understanding, but in terms of sort of what my next step was going to be in terms of like the area or again, what type of asset it was going to be, like I really was unsure about that. So I would say I was sort of not a newbie, but I wasn't an expert by any means. I would say I was most uncertain about a couple of things. I was in a contract role, so in terms of even serviceability, I was like, I don't know if that's possible. I was also unsure about where I wanted to buy because it's such a big decision, like it's a big monetary decision, it's a big time commitment. So those were sort of the things that I was uncertain about. Biggest worry was definitely making the wrong decision. And I think that a lot of people could probably relate to that. And also the market as well. I think you hear a lot of chatter online about like where the best place to buy is to get, 100% returns. And so it feels like so overwhelming trying to gauge like what areas may have already sort of gotten to the top of the market, where's a great place to get in early. So those were sort of some of the things that I was weighing up. I would say definitely that leaving it up to chance element was something I didn't want to do. When I knew that because of the results with that first property, how important it is and how helpful it was for me to have guidance and to have people who know what they're talking about and know what they're doing to help me with that second purchase. Just having support and having people who know what they're doing was really like the motivator to look out and reach out to a group of people who know what they're doing. During this process, I had looked at one other buyer's agent, but this was probably maybe 6 months before I actually pulled the trigger and decided to go with TIA. I stumbled across TIA, to be honest, by chance. I think I was on Facebook or something and I saw an ad pop up and I was like, oh, they look really good. And even at the point in time where I had the initial conversation, I wasn't 100% sure that, okay, this is what I want to do, but I knew I wanted to see what my options were in a real tangible way. And so that led me to really sort of investigate and see what was possible. I think what I saw at first were the client, like the testimonials. I believe it was similar to mine. So that sort of led me to do some digging, read some reviews, looked at also what the offering was, and it was super comprehensive. I think it was more comprehensive than the buyer's agent that I had been looking at previously. And so I think my initial first impression, I felt confident that they, TIA knew what they were doing, had the resources, had the staff, had the people power to help me sort of get to where I want to be. It was really streamlined. I would say after the first conversation that I had, like that really is what sold it. And I feel like she really helped me drill down into what my strategy might look like and what the options were. And I voiced to her, some of my concerns about taking this leap and trying to, go for a second property. And she was like, look, we've got, also contacts outside of the TIA agency in terms of brokers and lawyers and people who we work with, who also come alongside you, in this journey that can help you get to where you need to be. That really put me at ease that, okay, it's not just about buying the property, but also helping me achieve the next goal, the next goal, the next goal. And that felt more like aligned with sort of where I'm at and what I want in terms of a long-term strategy play versus just sort of these ad hoc buys and then, sort of leaving the property the back of my mind. Like I really loved the idea of building a roadmap and checking in and seeing what's possible. I would say I probably was surprised about the market. I think I assumed that, okay, and obviously there's nothing wrong with going regional, but I thought that would be sort of the path that I take. So that was probably most surprising, what the options actually are when you start having those conversations and you have sort of people in your corner and also on the ground that are able to, who have relationships, I guess, with real estate agents and who have contacts to sort of broaden out, what's available to you. I think this purchase was really affirming, and I keep going back to this, just feeling like maybe having a goal and wanting to achieve something, but maybe thinking that, oh, I've got to wait a little bit longer before I am able to get to that place. But with the purchase of this property, it really affirmed that, okay, there are options. Having the conversation, though, really helps you get to where you need to be a lot faster than sort of sitting on it and procrastinating, which, I definitely am prone to do. But having those conversations with people who have seen varied circumstances and varied situations and know what is possible and what is not possible, it really did give me the confidence to start sort of mapping out what I could do after this property that I've just bought with TIA. Absolutely, yeah, of course, especially because the property that I bought through TIA has grown, and so that naturally gets the wheels turning about when is more so the question, like when that next move could be. I think I probably would still be sitting on the fence, to be honest, but I guess the unfortunate thing about that is if I then decided, okay, I want to pull the trigger and buy a property, the property that I bought sort of around this time last year is already more expensive. So the cost of sort of sitting on the fence and not making that decision, evidently is a costly one. So I definitely think the right decision was made at the time it was made. I would say if it aligns with your actual goals for, whatever it is you want your future to look like, having the conversation is always going to get you to where you want to be faster than sitting on it. And so even if the answer is, okay, not now, at least having a clear understanding about what needs to happen to get you to where you need to be or want to be is always going to be beneficial. So I would encourage anyone to have a conversation at the very least and get that clear picture of what is possible, and probably will be surprised at what is possible. I would say absolutely go for it. I have friends who have actually just recently gone through the process with TIA, and we spoke and I was like, guys, you're good. Like it's a good decision. So I would absolutely recommend. There are a lot of buyers agents and agencies in the market, but in terms of having the confidence that you've got a team who know what they're doing, who are with you every step of the way, and who are also open to feedback as well, I would recommend TIA in a heartbeat. The process overall was really streamlined and really easy. Yeah. I would say because it was my first time using a buyer's agent, that naturally there are nerves or apprehension about, okay, is this going to work? Because, again, there are a lot of people promising a lot of things, and if you have not had that experience before, that can feel very nerve-wracking because you're entrusting a lot into a group of people who, obviously you believe they're professionals, but you don't know until the end result. So I would say the overall experience was really great, really streamlined. I would say for anyone sort of tossing up between, okay, do I want to, do I not want to, coming in with clear expectations about what you also want to get out of the process and how you maybe best communicate, how you want to be communicated with, the things that you want to receive from your team, as well as what you're also going to give to them. Like that's also very important. But I would say everything was handled. I was even overseas at one point and we still worked around timings in terms of property selection and next steps and closing. I think I was actually overseas when we actually, the purchase was made. So, it was hands off in the sense that things were handled for me, but I was involved in every step. Yeah.